Welcome, everybody. It's Wednesday night. You know what time it is. It is time for Girlfriends and Football. It's another episode here with my gals, Beth and Laura. We are back from an epic weekend full of football. I don't know. I guess let's just peel the Band-Aid right now. We all took L's this weekend. It was not ideal. We'll get into a lot of the other heartbreaks that go along with what happened this weekend. But ladies, how are we feeling right now?
I mean, sad about taking the L, but I mean, any given Sunday, right? So we just brush ourselves off and move on to the next one.
Laura?
Good for you.
Hey, look, I have experienced so much loss that this is nothing. We're still doing great. And you're all still doing great.
There's one optimist amongst us. That's impressive.
Yeah, good for her. I went to bed at 8:00 last night. That's how I am doing. It was so much fun. Tailgating in Atlanta with the Mafia was epic for sure. Would love to do it again somewhere else. But the game was less to be desired. Yeah.
I think we'll leave it at that. I mean, I'll just talk briefly about the game in Tampa. You know, Bucs Niners game. I mean, everything was just absolutely fantastic leading up to kickoff. Shout out to John Chapman, who hosted us for his event the day before. We went to his tailgate the day of. We hung out with Eric Crocker and John Chapman and, you know, all of the 49er faithful. And we were just having the best time ever. Get into our seats. It's a hot day. And first quarter, bam, my favorite player, Fred Warner, goes down, out for the season. Absolutely heartbreaking. They would not replay it during the on the Jumbotron in the stadium, which thank goodness. But I couldn't even really tell who was on the ground at first. I just knew it was bad by the reaction of the other players. A cart was coming. My husband's texting me. He's like, babe, it's Fred. I'm like, no. He's like, yeah, it doesn't look good. I'm like, how bad? He's like, out for the seasons. I'm looking on Twitter. I see the replay. I see the images. And I was just distraught. I was checked out of football like the whole rest of the day. Laura and I then went on to a Lions bar that evening. Laura, you pick it up from there.
Well, yeah. So the Lions bar, you know, I was super excited. Yay, we can celebrate with Lions fans. And we get in there and they're like 4 fans. There's like 4 people. But of course it's Sunday Night Football. So it's the only game on. We got a great seat to watch the game. And we had, you know, I mean, it was a bar. So we had some bar food. But it did start to pick up, you know, as far as being busy. But it was not like I was hoping for like the camaraderie and the cheers and the high fives and that. And it just wasn't that. I'm guessing because it was in Florida and it was an official Lions bar that because it was Sunday night, everyone was watching it at home because they're like, I don't have to go out tonight. But yeah, the Lions, they put up a good fight, you know, but the tide started turning against them. And, you know, whether you think it's actually unfair officiating, which several people say it might have been, or just being outplayed, which is also partly the case. But in the second half, yeah, we just lost the game fair and square. Well, maybe not fair and square, but you know, the one thing is we had this incredible touchdown where David Montgomery threw it to Jared Goff, who literally muscled his way into the end zone, and they called it back. And now there's some controversy as to whether that should have been called back. That it was the NFL that told the officiants to call it back, which the NFL said they don't interfere with games like that. So there's some, you know, it's weird. But at the end of the day, we lost. And that's about all we can say about that. And again, pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, keep going. There's a lot more football.
Yeah. So we wrapped up that game. And we're like, wait, we're going to Atlanta tomorrow. So like, we're going to just like, bring the energy. It's like my husband's coming. He gets to see Dana. I get to see her. We didn't even talk about what happened before all of this. For Beth's son was sick, and we weren't even sure that this whole thing was going to happen. Shout out to Gabe. I'm not sure if you're watching today, bud, but we definitely were thinking of you. So we get to Atlanta. Vibes are good. Beth's got the hookup. We're ready to go tailgate with the Mafia. We're holding out on tickets. We're trying to do not, by the way, hold out on ticket prices.
Right.
Atlanta, because I feel like Atlanta, when you go to a game in Atlanta and Mercedes-Benz, they bring it. I mean, the halftime show might have been equally as good as last year's halftime show at the Super Bowl. Like, they bring it every time. And then you got Bills Mafia, who travel. They come to those games. There was not an empty seat in that house at all. So,
and we know that because we had to buy tickets last minute.
Right. Right. And to be fair, it was just as loud when the Falcons were on offense as it was the other way around in the Falcons stadium. Like, it was just as loud. So there were plenty of Bills fans there screaming their heads off trying to get this game to go one way.
We were willing it as best we could. So tailgating was awesome. I got my Rivalries jersey, which I was super excited about. My husband is all in now for Buffalo Mafia tailgating. He's like, I'm still a Giants fan, but I will tailgate with you any day of the week. Great food, great drinks, fun new people that we got to meet. Get in the game, same thing. Great people, great food, great drinks. We could not pull it together. Josh Allen did not look like Josh Allen. He played like, his rookie year, his second year. He had a couple of interceptions, I think. He just never pulled it together. He didn't pull it together. Our defense did the best they could, but they let Bijan Robinson run for like a stupid amount of yards and have a 81-yard touchdown or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Drake London just beat us as well with the number of catches he had. Shout out to the Falcons. They came, they showed up. Buffalo did not. We just didn't utilize our players. We got Curtis Samuel got hurt, Curtis Samuel was out. Dalton Kincaid was out. So we got Josh Palmer. We were super excited to see him play. We're like, yes, he's going to be in. He's going to show off. And then he gets injured as well. Everything kind of, we didn't utilize Cook. Coleman wasn't playing his game. Like, everything was falling apart. We need to do better. And that's a lot of talk in the Bills world right now. We need to do better. We made it through the first 4 games off of luck, but we are not playing playoff worthy football by any stretch.
Yeah, well, I think I have a reason why the Bills may have not come out of the gate strong. I think Beth did not appreciate this in our group chat, but here it is. This is how Von Miller shows up to the game.
Right, and I believe the comment was Rick James could have played better. Isn't Rick James dead?
R.I.P. Rick James. And
he still could have played better.
He didn't help Buffalo either. So as much as we wanted him to be our player, he never was.
This is true. All right. Well, I want to share my screen real quick because this is what's wild. This is literally, and guys, I have an incredible guest that's coming up here in just a moment, but I want to share this real quick. Actually, am I sharing my screen? Stand by. Here we go. This is the NFL standings.
There it comes.
I'm like, stand by. It's coming. So here's the conference standings, which this is wild. If you had asked me in the beginning of the year, do I in any universe believe the Indianapolis Colts, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Los Angeles Chargers would be the top 3 in the AFC of this season? I'd be like, no, I don't think I'm taking that bet at all. And there we have it. That is the top 3 in the AFC. And you look at the NFC, it's Bucks, Green Bay, and the 49ers, which is mind-blowing. As many injuries as we have, we're basically out our entire starting offense, and we are somehow still third in the conference. And this is just so incredible because there is no strong front runner. So I can't decide if this is a good thing or not. Like, I know I'm struggling with making my picks week to week on who's going to win games, but this is just Kansas City's in 8th. I mean, you've got the Bills in 5th in their conference. And then on the NFC side, you've got the Rams at 7th. The Lions are at 6th. Like, this is just upside down world. The Commanders in 12th. Like, this is upside down world. What do you guys think about this?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I made that exact statement that the NFL feels like bizarro world right now. Like, the teams that we thought were going to be great are just not. The teams, like the Ravens, that we really thought, and they keep getting slaughtered. And then the teams that no one expected. I mean, somehow the Carolina Panthers keep winning. Like, it's just it's a strange season.
And the Giants.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, who would have thought they'd be winning games?
Exactly. And we want to hear from you. If you're watching, please give us your comments. We want to know what you think about this season, about everything going on. I don't know, whatever takes you got. We want to hear from you. So comment in the chat.
Yeah, the creatine Caucasians, or what are they calling Scadaboo and Dart? Like, that's
Caucasian. Yeah, whatever that is.
Yes.
It's ridiculous.
It's amazing. And I think that's going to be a great segue into our next segment. But first, I want to introduce a guest today. We are so blessed to have, let me just adjust my screen. Stand by. Wait, I'm sorry. I do know how to do this. Wait a minute. Visual effects. Take this off. None. All right. So I am here in Tampa Bay. We've got, I'm at Physical Chiropractic of Tampa Bay, and we have guest Dr. Tommy Rhee. This guy is amazing. He's a chiropractor here in the Bay Area, and he's formerly been in the Navy. He has had an illustrious career taking care of many professional athletes, from the NFL to the NBA to Olympic champions. And so he's been the Tampa Bay Buccaneers team chiropractor for several years, and he's here with us today. So I welcome Dr. Tommy Rhee. Hi.
How you doing?
Welcome to the show.
Okay.
Welcome.
Thanks for having us here at your
guys.
office. So this is Dr. Rhee. So meet the ladies. This is Beth. She's a doctorate of physical therapy, and we have Laura, who is our expert in all things digital. So
well.
I'm sorry about this last Sunday, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, it was a tough call.
That's all right. Let us talk to you instead of have to rehash those games. So,
Right.
I like that. Any given Sunday, right?
Any given Sunday.
Exactly.
So, we do a segment on here called Sports and Medicine, and we're going to get to that segment where we're going to review Fred Warner's injury. We'll have you chat a little bit about that. But one question that we get asked often is, what are your thoughts on athletes playing on turf versus grass?
Yeah. So there's that prone injury of anything in lower extremity. So the idea is that, you see athletes are getting bigger and faster and stronger, right? Well, on the antagonistic side, you got the actual floor or the turf, from grass to turf, and it's a concrete. They have a little bit of rubber in there, but the surface is harder now, right? So it's not a give, right? So when you start having those components in there, bigger, faster, stronger, and then you don't have that surface that gives a little bit, something has to give, right? So typically when you don't have that type of good rehab after an injury, or maybe like a starting injury, well, you're going to compound that with that hard surface, and it's going to turn into something what you're seeing now recently with these athletes. Getting these ruptures, these aggressive Achilles tendonitis issues, and then those fractures, and any type that have that escapability from a position when you're going to be trapped in that area where you're getting tackled, or where the group of people are, your leg's going to trap. So if the surface is too stiff, right, that foot's stuck in there, it's not going to give. So what gives is that bone, tendon, ligament. So you can see that there's probably a correlation between natural grass versus turf injuries, and then people that play in that high velocity of that grass has less injuries, right?
Yeah.
So
Now, you had the luxury of working with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for several years here in the Bay Area, and you've watched athletes come back from injury all the way up, and it takes a team effort. Can you speak to those that are involved in the process and what that looks like for an athlete that sustained an injury?
yeah, so it always starts with assessing on the injury on the field, right? So you want to see what's going on, and then after that, there's a following day after the game where they'll do evaluation, see what's going on for diagnostic of like MRIs or maybe an ultrasound diagnosis or something, and they want to further on see how great that kind of strain is at. So when you get to that point, now it's time to talk about like let's go with rehab. If it's not surgical route, it's rehab. And that's what you want to do. You want to serve the actual like a therapy, but also get the best ability to heal. So you want to get the most aggressive therapy you have out there. So that's why a lot of NFL teams use like advanced equipment. So the object is that you want to get that environment where it's injury oxygenated as fast as possible, get the circulation, get the inflammation out, and get it to heal quick. So it could be a lot of therapy, like just the modalities that you hear about, E-stim, ultrasound. Then you get the advanced stuff like shock wave. And then you get into that therapy like Ultra G when you have that kind of like a treadmill that kind of lifts your body up so you're not really applying that much weight on your legs. And then there's the aqua treadmill. There's all kinds of therapy out there, but you want to speed the process up as fast as possible. And then at the same time, not lose their muscle or go through atrophy. So it's a very complex thing. So it goes from the assessment, then to the therapist, and there's going to be athletic trainers there and physical therapists there. And the idea is that you want to take that component of, rehab, anti-inflammatory, then you go into the actual like strengthening with isometric, then the concentric, eccentric, and then you start doing a little dynamic, and then you get them off the ground, and then you kind of apply that real world scenario in the actual facility, and then you get them on the field, and you start doing that duplication of that agility, and then you're off and running.
Okay. Well, I will say, right now, I mean, obviously my team, the 49ers, they're the number one most injured team in the NFL right now. We've had probably, I think it was like the last 5 years, we've been in the top 5 to 10 of most injured teams in the NFL. And somehow we still keep producing. But my question is, how much of this, or have you seen a difference in their amping up to start the season? How much of that is what the teams are providing them, or is this really on the athlete themselves to condition to be ready for OTAs into spring training and all the things?
Yeah, off season it's unique. So you have the luxury of going two worlds: your own private team for the medical, or you can actually use the team's medical. So more than likely the individuals, because they have their own group of people. If it's the trainers, their medical side, and the regenerative side, they have their own team, and they try to match up as much as possible with teams. So if the team lacks it, then they'll go outside and within their team and use that. So the thing is that it's always about recovery off season. So on season, you're compressing, you're going fast, and you're just trying to cycle up as fast as possible to play that week's game. So you don't have the luxury of like concerned about your diet or really looking at like proper like biomechanics. All you're trying to do is explode that game, recover during that Monday through Thursday, and then you're going back at it again. So off season is crucial. So you're talking about anything that you have a problem, so you may have to go through like a secondary injury surgical kind of world, or you might have to do the regenerative medicine, or just correct some of the movements so it can inhibit some of the actual like prone injuries you may get. So you want to think about as much as you can to do that on season that you don't have the time to do off season. So it all takes a group of people, right? It takes a village.
Yes, it does. Ladies, do you have any questions?
No, I just think what I find most amazing about these athletes and about the trainers and the people that are working with them, like when I sit and work with my clients in the private sector, your everyday type of person, the recovery time always seems a little bit longer, right? So just the fact that when we sit there and the more that I've been looking at it and doing it, seeing how quickly we can get these athletes back into peak performance or close to peak performance shape after an injury is really amazing to me. So a lot of credit goes out to that training staff and that early diagnosis, early treatment. I think probably what you said earlier about, hey, this is where we look at circulation, look at inflammation and all those things within minutes and hours of an injury probably make such a huge difference compared to what we would see in our day-to-day practice. Do you agree?
Yeah. I think the biggest example is that, when you play basketball or you roll your ankle, but, you don't take off your shoe and you're able to walk. But the next day is where you start feeling that real pain because your ankle is swollen. So people think, oh, it got worse. Well, it's not so much the injury. The injury is there. It's just the inflammation that got into the joint. So that's why you need that recovery period to get the inflammatory stuff, controlled and kind of reduce that range of motion. Reduce the inflammation to get that range of motion back to normal.
Perfect. Well, we did get a question that came in prior to, since everybody knew that you were going to be here tonight. How often should a person working 8+ hours on the computer go to the chiropractor?
That's what I want to know.
So chiropractic, people think chiropractic is the adjustment world, right? Just like, like the spine, you align them and then you get that audible sound. So when you think about that kind of therapy in that manner, 8 hours, it all depends on what you're doing. If you're static 8 hours, your body needs motion, it needs movement. So if you're not given that ability to move, get up every 40 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour and just move and stretch out and do kind of some yoga stuff. If you're not doing that, well, your body doesn't like that and it gets stagnant. And then the difficulty is that the gravitational pull kind of pushes those vertebrae down and you limit the range of motion. Now you feel constantly that tightness. Well, you need to get that fluid back by either a pressure of oncotic pressure of negative positive gradient, and it kind of increases that that viscosity of the fluid in there.
And is that what an adjustment does?
The pop sound?
Yes.
Yeah, so the pop sound is a synovial fluid inside the sac where you move it real quick and it rushes to the other side. It's called cavitation. So that's why you hear that pop sound. So if you're in that static mode, you want to get to the chiropractor probably a lot, maybe once every 2 weeks, once a week. So it all depends on who you are. But if you know and you're cognizant of I'm too much in a computer, I need to move around, maybe it's less than that. You'll know when you need to go in there, especially when you start getting that tightness in that vertebrae around the neck and you get that rounded shoulder and you're kind of creeping into the screen instead of stepping back. And, that's when I need someone to, give me a second opinion about my posture, knowing that I have bad posture. But someone tell me I have bad posture makes it more sense. Didn't know that, but everybody knows they have bad posture.
Well, there we go. So we're just going to take a pause. We'll come back to other questions. Doc is going to be around with us. So if you think of anything, you're welcome to go ahead and ask questions for sure. Hi, guys. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Tanya. Okay, so we're going to just move it right along because we were talking so wonderfully about the New York Giants. Guys, it is exciting what is happening there. Last Thursday was an amazing game. Fantastic. So, Beth, I'm going to let you take this away, girl. Let's talk about the drink of the week. But first, let me do.
Yes!
Time for Cocktail Mocktail with Beth.
We're always so excited. So the cocktail this week, we had to go with the Giants because they had such a great game. And I love to see them win a little bit and celebrate. It's been a minute for them. But so the drink this week, it's called Red Moon over Manhattan. If you are a wine connoisseur, please don't drink this. I apologize. I'm not going to say if you're a red wine drinker to do this. I really enjoy it. However, it's red wine, bourbon, simple syrup, and a maraschino cherry to top it off. It was much better than I thought it would be. My concern was that with the red wine and the bourbon, it would be too dry. If you like drier drinks, the simple syrup in this cuts it pretty significantly, and it has a really nice flavor to it. So again, 3 things that you probably already have sitting in your bar cabinet: red wine, bourbon, and simple syrup.
Perfect.
It is so delicious. It is probably my favorite one that we've made so far this season.
Is that what
I'll
you
be
have?
honest, this drink was on my list for last season. And I couldn't wrap my head around the red wine and bourbon combined. I couldn't do it. So I put it off to this year. And then when they won, I was like, well, we really have to pull it back out. So I'm glad that we did.
And for those who don't know, Beth's husband is a faithful Giants fan, but I love how much he supported you and wore the Bills shirt to the game. That is not something my husband and I would do. We love each other immensely, we obviously didn't get divorced during the 49ers Ravens Super Bowl, but I draw the line at I am not wearing purple to a Ravens. And he is not wearing red.
He's a good sport. He'll do it. If we were playing the Giants, that would not have happened. But the fact that the Giants had already won, he was more than happy to support at that point.
I bet. Dr. Rhee, is there a team that you pull for? Are you more of a players guy, or are you kind of like, I've had my time in the NFL and
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Tampa guy, so I gotta be with Bucks. But as far as following teams, I think I'm at a point where it's kind of like oversaturated from all the times I'm out there. So, I mean, I'm always gonna root for my home team. So yeah.
That hurts my feelings, but we'll keep you. All right. For those who don't drink alcohol, we always have the mocktail version. So walk us through the tart cherry juice mocktail.
Again, a super simple drink. It's a passion fruit tea. I used the ones that the Tao Tiazio, whatever that one is. They have a really good passion tea, which works really well with this. Honey and some tart cherry juice. The lime helps cut the sweetness of it. But again, you can add sparkling water. We did not. We just left it as a still drink. And it was very good as it was. So that is your mocktail for the week as well. So please enjoy some cherry red cocktails for the Giants and celebrate their win.
And are we highlighting a player?
We are highlighting. So like we said, I've been trying to highlight a team and a player for each of these drinks. And the player that we're highlighting this week is Dexter Lawrence. So everybody knows Jackson Dart. Everybody knows about Cam Scadaboo right now. They've been having great rookie seasons. But a position that has been held on to in the Giants community for a while now is Dexter Lawrence. And he is the defensive tackle for the Giants. He's got a great nickname. Everybody calls him Sexy Dexy. He is Sexy Dexy because he is 6'4", 340-ish pounds. He's a huge dude, but he's a huge dude that is not only large in size, he is fast, he is in shape, he is a great athletic player. So he is a steal for any team. Sexy Dexy name came from he was playing in college just because he was so big, and he's also just a sweet dude. He reminds me of Buffalo's Deion Dawkins, if I had to.
Well, I love Sexy Dexy.
Personality to him. So as a defensive tackle, as a nose tackle, their job is to kind of line up right across from like the center on the offensive side. Their job is to be like he is the biggest man on the field. His job is to kind of block anybody coming in on either side. They'll jump up, they block passes if they're being knocked down from the line. He blocks gaps in order to open up for the rest of the defense to help block for breaking up passes and things like that. So his job is really just to be a mess in the middle of the field so that the rest of his defense can do their job.
I love it. Messy, sexy, Dexy.
One more time.
Messy, sexy, Dexy. Let's go. All right. Well done. All right. So I'm going to sandwich my sadness between good stuff. So we just came off of the cocktail mocktails. So we're going to rip this Band-Aid off too. So we're going to cover sports and medicine and talk about the Fred Warner injury that broke my heart. All right, so here it is. That was my sexy man on the 49ers. Our best linebacker, Fred Warner, the absolute heartbeat of our team, sustained a fracture dislocation of his ankle. And basically his ankle was pointing in a direction, or his toes were pointing in a direction that it should not have been. So we're going to talk a little bit about this. Here's a picture of the ankle joint. And where this big pink arrow is, that's basically where the impact came. So the force came in from what we call the lateral side, or the outside aspect of the ankle, and it just crushed. So it fractured right through the lower bones of the ankle there. And where that green spot is, that's the talus. And so there's like a nice space that should be all around that talus. That's called the mortise. And the mortise, all of that's kind of held together by a ton of soft tissues. And so if you have what we call mortise disruption, where there's the spacing is gapped or disrupted, then it's problematic, and those have to go to the operating room. So with a dislocation, all of that is kind of apart, and it's going to require a plate with screws more likely. And it's going to take a long amount of time for this to heal. This is a huge injury. You've got basically, I know we've talked about having high ankle sprains, regular ankle sprains, things like that, fractures, but this is, imagine having all of it at once. When Kyle Shanahan first talked about it in the presser, I think right after the game, he threw out 3 months, and everybody kind of hung on to 3 months. But I will tell you, this is an injury that is going to take longer than 3 months. I absolutely do not expect him to come back this season, even if by some amazing chance we end up in the Super Bowl. Now, if anyone can do it, it's Mr. Fred Warner. So I'm not going to be, I'm not going to hold it against him if he does come up. Hi, Terradome. Welcome. But realistically, this is an injury that's going to take probably up to 6 months. I mean, if you're really optimistic, maybe 5. So for Niners fans out there, remember Trey Lance had this injury. Cowboys fans, Dak Prescott had this injury. Bucs fans, Chris Godwin had this injury. For the Niners fans, when Trey Lance had the injury, he had the open reduction internal fixation. That's the surgery. They put the plate in, they put the screws in, and then he actually ended up having to go back to surgery because he had to have the hardware removed. So these are all things that we have to think about as we're talking about this type of injury. But I'm going to go ahead and spin it to Dr. Rhee. What do you think about fracture dislocations of the ankles? What are things that we need to consider in an injury like this?
Well, when you have something that have those type of situation where you have a dislocation with a fracture, so the first concern is that you got to realign it back to normal, and then you need to get the stabilization of that realignment, keep it, and that is basically the ligaments, right? Bone on bone attachment. And then you got to address yourself with the fracture, what bone that fracture, and that's where you're talking about screwing the plate and stuff. So it all depends on how the ortho is going to approach this. Are they going to approach it in the sense that we're going to fuse maybe the talar and the navicular bone, the little bones that are a little further away down the foot, or are they going to go ahead and do some attachment of, getting some donor tissue from another part of the body and kind of supplement the ligaments that have torn and replace that? So it all depends. So when you hear about people coming back faster, you're looking at a procedure that's pretty extensive, but more importantly, it's what they use to get that structure back to normal. And then the secondary part is the rehab. So when it comes to rehab, he has to get very aggressive. You have to get that tissue to heal, and also you got to beat the inflammation. And then you got to get them weight bearing and moving. So the worst thing is that it's a lower extremity, weight bearing, and you're always walking on it. So if you had the same injury type in your wrist, well, it's not weight bearing. You're able to do things, but you can walk. But with an ankle, you're talking about something that you're constantly using no matter what, right? Even when you're like resting, you have to walk places. So you're always using that weight bearing ankle. So that's a difficulty with it.
Right.
So I hope he does well. I hope that training facility does the most advanced stuff, and they really push that component right to the edge before you do worse damage. You always want to go to the maximum level and then back them up and see if you can push that threshold more and more every time he gets on that rehab road.
Yeah. Beth, speak to us about the physical therapy process behind healing from a fracture dislocation of the ankle.
I mean, I think it's exactly what Dr. Rhee was just talking about. It's a matter of pushing to that next level without creating damage. We're looking at the healing phases. I know we talked about how quickly athletes recover now compared to your regular person off the street, but the idea of despite all of those pieces, our body goes through natural healing processes, and all of those take a certain amount of time. So there are phases to healing, phases to returning to strength, returning to activity that require those certain amount of timelines, regardless of how fit you are prior. So really looking at sticking to those timelines and pushing so that you don't end up going too hard, too fast and having to return back.
Yeah. You always hear about like when people come back from a injury and then they come back faster, but they have that lingering pain, a lingering issue that, well, he's not 100%. Then you're in the world of like, well, he's still able to play, but he has inhibition because of that pain. These athletes get into that world of pain that now they're into something that you don't want these guys going to. So that's that fine line of performing and then pushing and pain threshold. Just got to make sure that you want to have a career, but you don't want to like end it too quick because of that masking situation. That's a lot of athletes what I see. It's like they get back too soon, but they're able to push if they just could mask some of that pain, so they go in that world.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know,
It's remembering that pain is not always, pain is there for a reason, right? And so if we ignore the pain and we're not addressing the pain and addressing the cause of the pain, you're going to see bigger injuries down the road. So I agree with that. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why I always get concerned is that I feel like sometimes they do return too quickly, right? Because they're waiting on a paycheck or they're trying to keep themselves their spot on the team. And we've seen it before where players lose their starting position and don't get their starting position back because of an injury that holds them out. So we forget how much of a business this is and how much their body is the business.
Yeah. And, you know, I think we're talking about Brandon Ayuk, and Brandon Ayuk had an ACL tear along with an MCL tear and meniscus tear. And so he's already at 1 year. I think this past week was exactly a year from his injury. And so it's taken a full year and we've not seen him back. And I think there's a lot of questions. And I think you guys nailed it talking about, you know, you don't know if you're pushing and then he's got to, you know, take off 2 more days because he's pushed it too far, and just trying to get that balance of how far you can push, but how much can you get back in return. And I think that's kind of where we are with Brandon Ayuk. And so, you know, we'll see when the timeline is for him to actually come back onto the field. Luckily, Niners fans, we're getting our boy George Kittle and Purdy have been back. They were on the practice field today, so we're going to stay hopeful that there's a level up situation happening for our game against Atlanta at home this weekend. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for chiming in about Fred Warner. We're wishing him the best. You guys know I've been doing nothing but praying for this man every single day, almost every hour of every day. So
you were unconsolable at the game, like completely. I mean, you were sitting next to me, you were shouting, you were near tears. So yeah.
I was a hot mess. Listen, I bought his jersey. Like, it was a whole situation. All of the 49ers faithful came together to make sure I had the jersey for game day. He was supposed to break the tackle record, break Patrick Willis's record. I would like, this was the perfect setup. I was finally going to be at the game. Like, it was like the whole thing. And just like that, man. And guys, I'm that girl that in the minute that it happened, I was like, oh, poor Sydney. I messaged his wife. I don't know her. Like, hi Sid, if you're watching, but I just messaged, like, it was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like, for praying for Fred. Like, that's where my brain went to. Maybe it's the practitioner in me that's just like immediately thinking about the family members. But anyway, we're praying for the whole family because, you know, Sydney's pregnant with baby number 2. So just wishing the best for the entire Warner family. So let's move on to our next segment. It's a lot more fun, and it's one of our favorites, Rate the Fit. All right, guys. So those of you who follow us on social media, you get to see all of these fits in advance. You have every option to rate and try to give us who you think was the top dresser for the pregame fits this week. I'm going to share. Let's start with Laura's favorite. Laura, walk us through your favorite.
Yeah. You know, David Montgomery is turning into a favorite, but, you know, the Lions aren't really known for their, you know, pregame fits. But David Montgomery, a few weeks ago, he did his Eagle Scout sash. That was definitely noteworthy. But this is just classic and cool. And like, yeah, it's rock star. So, and he's such a sweet, humble guy that like swagger and rock star are not words that you would use to describe him. But I think he looked really, really slick in this.
Was there some news specific, something for the game this week? Was there like
For Montgomery? Not this week.
No, not this week. Okay, maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. Dr. Rhee, what do we think of David Montgomery's outfit?
Okay, he's got some jeans on and a long sleeve sweater. And it's good, you know. I mean, from this distance, it looks like he's color coordinating. Got the bag going with the shirt.
How do you feel about men with bags?
It all depends. It all depends. If he's carrying it like a man, he's fine. If he's carrying it like a, like a purse, then he's crossing the line. So it all depends. If he's carrying tools, then maybe you got a good bag. It all depends. Functionality. Is that what they say?
Yes.
There you go.
So let's move on to Beth's favorite, which Bill's Mafia. I hope you're watching. Just kidding.
I'm talking about clothes here.
All right. Who was your pick for the week?
The defensive tackle for the Chiefs. His camo shirt, the brown pants, kind of like leathery looking, that kind of moved well with it, and the leather bag. I don't know. It flowed very nicely.
Listen, Charles Omenihu is a big guy that knows how to dress. He brings it almost every week. It's hard for him not to be in the lineup every week. But you guys spoke up and we heard you, and this is who you chose as this week's best fit. Boom, Jackson Smith-Njigba. He is a wide receiver for the Seattle Seahawks. Fun fact, one of my friends, actually her husband has this shirt, and another woman was like, I need to figure out where these guys are shopping because I need to get my husband hooked up. I'm like, well, why don't you talk to her, because her husband actually has this shirt. But I got more comments about the Louis Vuitton little frog. Is that a keychain? I don't know what that is. I had
like
to look it up.
AirPods or something.
Right?
It's actually very adorable. If you want one, go to Louis Vuitton. They have these little frogs in different colors. It's a thing. So thanks, Jackson, for, making sure we all know about this new fashion trend that I guess you are now starting out. So that is our fit of the week. Speaking of fits, we have the Chargers are coming out with their new Charger Power Fits. And this is what they're going to look like. Week 7 debut. All yellow. And Laura, you had some
That
words.
is a terrible picture. The first one was better. This one is terrible.
Well,
I feel like that looks better. The other one makes me feel like we're at like school photos with the really cheesy background.
yes.
Senior photo is right here. This is their senior photo shoot.
Well, right. And the description on their social media, the Chargers social media, said, and I quote, all gold. And I just want to know who is determining on their color wheel what color gold is, because there's nothing gold about that. Like, are you all familiar with the Savannah Bananas and Banana Ball? Like, that's what it looks like they're doing. And I'm a huge Savannah Bananas Banana Ball fan, love watching their stuff. But the Chargers, unless they start choreographing and lip syncing on the field, those are insane little outfits. That's what I have to say about that.
I feel like it's giving yellow Power Ranger. Sorry, Laura. Laura almost spit her drink out.
I wasn't expecting Power Ranger out of that, but yes.
I mean, do you see the thought process on that one?
This also, that color is the same color. I just want to share. My high school or my middle school basketball team, that's the color of our uniforms.
Wow.
So we wore that yellow head to toe in 19 something.
Wow.
And it was as ugly then as it is in these pictures.
Also, going back to this, pulling up for the yacht party, Terradome always has the good takes on the fits.
But Terradome, we need the soundtrack. What's the soundtrack for him? Because that's now we have a job for you. Okay,
yes.
So you think about that. I've got more questions for Doc here. All right, so more questions have come in from our listeners. One is SI joint dysfunction. So someone has come out and said that they have SI, which stands for sacroiliac joint dysfunction, which is located in the lower back, that failed steroid injection. So they already had injections there. and ablation. So what recommendations might you have for this person?
So when you hear about those failures for the injection, the cortisone shot, and maybe the ablation, you're thinking about, well, it's going to be something in the sense of not inflammation, it's instability. So there's something that's sliding back and forth. So they probably need like a SI joint belt. You probably know that, right? In the physical therapy world, it's a SI joint belt. It helps the stabilization of that segment, which is that plate called the sacrum, and the ilium, which is the hip bone. So when you see things like that, then you want to think about the muscles that cross the SI joint. There's one called the glute max, and the other one called the piriformis. Those two cross. One goes in front, one goes in the back of that joint. So you want to think about those kind of stretches. So there's like simple stretches. You can just like lay on your back, make a figure four, pull back, and you can feel the stretch right in that hip that goes from the side all the way down to that back area. And you stretch it out, and then you want to lengthen that tissue, but then you want to also strengthen that tissue because you want to keep that stabilization. So once you get that stretching component, then you want to do exercises that engage those piriformis and the glute max muscles. So I recommend if they failed in that world, get that SI joint belt.
Very good. All right. The next question is, someone is asking for you to speak about the biomechanics of the Vasper machines.
Honest opinion?
Yes.
Okay. So it all stems from this thing called blood flow restriction. It's basically, I know you heard of it, right? So that type of device that kind of gives you that there's a cup on every extremity or that particular area you want to recover. And what they're trying to do is they try to occlude or close down the venous flow, the return blood flow, and to keep the arterial flow down there, and then capture that kind of blood in that area. So you're trying to get more of that, they would say, growth factor, some type of like signaling to grow that tissue back. So the problem with that is that you think about that concept, it's similar to a thing that we don't want. It's called DVT, a deep vein thrombosis. You're closing down that venous flow. So it's the same concept. So you always think about that deoxygenated blood. It's like they call free radicals. It's too much of that antagonizing health factor that you want in your body. You want to get that metabolic waste out. So when I hear about those things about that blood flow restriction and that type, it's the same concept. You're restricting the flow, and they use like little cryo, little cool, and little exercise. I always think that proceed with caution. There is studies out there that shows that it works in some capacity, but they use if you look at the means, they look at it through ultrasound and they see the diameter of the cell. If you back up the flow, that diameter is going to increase. So in my opinion, to me, I apologize for the company there, but I don't like things like that. When you restrict the blood flow, especially that metabolic waste you're trying to get out, all that excess tissue, you want to get that you include the venous flow and the lymphatic flow. I think it's detrimental to recovery. You want to get it out of there. You want to have better nutrients stand out there. So that's why when I hear that thing, I'm indifferent when it comes to that blood flow restriction kind of devices.
Yeah. All right. Well, you heard it
about that too, right? About the fact that the biggest thing is to get bigger circulation going through there, get fresh blood, fresh oxygen, and things like that in there. So I agree. That when you restrict and you stop it, you actually create more of that swelling and more of that pressure that we're trying to avoid. So,
yeah, I understand what they're trying to do. I mean, the concept, there's two concepts in there, right? You want to strengthen the muscle and get it to activate faster. And then you want to create an environment where there's more blood and more growth factors in that damaged tissue. So I kind of get it. The problem is you go into just in basic biology and you want to get that metabolic waste out of there. You want to get all that excess junk out of there. It doesn't make sense on my side here. So
yeah, I concur. All right. Next question is, what are the most common degenerative diseases that you've come across in players?
So when they retire and they're going in that world of trying to be active, but they have the consequences of the sport. Easy things you hear about: ankles, of course, knees, anything that's weight bearing, low back, lumbar. You hear those things. Shoulders, they're going to have it all. I mean, think about that. Think about that trauma. You're doing that car accident every play. You're slamming yourself, right? Bam, bam, bam. So you see a lot of. Just think about the position, the line, the defense, offensive line. That's collision all the time. That's all the way from cervical area, lumbar, shoulders. I mean, it's almost everything. Hands. Look at an ex-NFL player's hands. If they get their hands caught right in front of the helmet, it's going to crush helmet to helmet. You'll see you'll see the dislocation is permanent. They think it's cool. You see it. You see their feet, from old turf toe that it's basically stuck in the extension. You're gonna see most unique things after. It's like probably something like you see somebody going to war, and then they've been in battle and they come out and they're in the VA hospital. And you start to see them walking around. Well, you ask yourself, is that a VA patient or an NFL player? It's like that kind of trauma you see. So it's everything you can think of, but that compression world.
Yeah, for sure. So I have another question. How hard is it, if you're on the medical staff for a professional football team, how hard is it to make the decision or be part of the decision to say whether an athlete is ready to go back to work? Because there is the business aspect, there's the coaches, the pressure of, hey, we got to get this guy, we need this guy this week. And, he may not be all the way ready. Are there modalities that can help you optimize that? Or is it really challenging to try to really kind of say, how hard is it to put your foot down, or how hard is it to be able to push them out there? What does that feel like? Can you speak a little bit about
so now
the balance?
So here are the factors or the variables. You've got the front office, a general manager that wants to get right. Then you got the coach that needs him on the field. Then you got the athlete's concerned about his own career and his longevity. But then you got the agent involved and he needs to go there. Then you think about where he's at in his contract. Last year, first year, and then that's a negotiation piece of tool. You go in there and go, well, you're not worth as much because you're prone to this injury based on your past injuries. So it's a lot of factors in there. So, when I was there at the Buccaneers, I think all NFL teams are like this. Athletes don't want to go into the medical side of it because that is a piece of negotiation tool they're going to use. So they like to avoid that. So they come out to facilities like mine and get therapy. So they want to get better. But then when it comes to getting them back on the field, it all depends. If they have to get on the field because financial reasons, well, they're going to get on the field. It's like I'm like one catch away from making my bonus. I got to get on the field. I don't care. So they have that variable. Or is it like this could be a season or career-ending injury if it goes any further? Now they're really concerned because they're they want to keep going. Because these NFL contracts are the worst contract when it comes to professional players.
Yeah.
Look at basketball players guaranteed, baseball players guaranteed, football players. It's still based on performance. It's a difficult question to answer because there's so many things going on. So I think when it comes to the medical side of it, if they're determining, they're going to say, hey, you're ready to go when you can stand and walk. That's all they think.
Yeah.
Hey, you can walk. Let's go. We need you out there. And the general manager, the athlete, he wants to get out there because, he's a team player. He wants to do it for the team. But ultimately, he's got to think about his family, too.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I can imagine that's got to be very difficult. So, ladies, any other questions?
No, it's been great.
Yeah, this has been really interesting, especially for, the one member of the team that is not medical in any way. So it's really interesting to hear this side of it. It always is with you, Beth and Desi, but, to get another perspective, especially a team perspective on how this really works within the NFL. So it's been really interesting to listen to.
Super fascinating. And speaking of his facility, that's actually where we are right now. Look at these beautiful screens in the background. I've been obsessed with them since we came in the first time. So he's got a beautiful facility here in the Tampa Bay area. How do our viewers reach out to you if they have any questions or want to become a patient or want to learn more about what you do? Where would you direct them?
I think the easiest way is just my website, physicalchiro.com. You can go or Google my name, which is Dr. Tommy Rhee, Rhee. And also I have a product out there that's a topical stem cell. It's called Regen, RHEEGEN.com. You can check on that thing. And then just how do they do, right? Google, right?
Yeah.
Easiest way to find somebody and find out about somebody.
Perfect. Well, I have three more last minute questions here. I always like to ask any guest these ones. So what was the best lesson of the past? Best thing happening in the present? And what's the best goal for the future?
Okay. Best thing in the past, to me, my time in the military. It gave me a good little, how would you say, a starting point to get where I need to be here. So it helped me a lot with a lot of things. Okay, and in the present.
And thank you for your service.
Oh.
Happy early Veterans Day is coming up, guys.
Thank you. And then the present, being on the show like this. So this is so much fun. I like these things, just talking conversations and then spreading out a little bit of information and sometimes people just don't know, and it's just in conversation they can pick up things,
Yeah.
And as far as the future, I'm really looking forward to my topical stem cell and then really getting it out to other people in an affordable way that they don't have to do injections. It's like really like easier access points. So
So share with us a little bit about that product.
yeah. So stem cell therapy right now is through an injectable procedure that has that high cost between $5,000 to $15,000. Now the donor tissue, you're taking it from the umbilical cord, which is called like the Wharton's jelly, the umbilical cord, and they're trying to achieve this thing called a mesenchymal stem cell. And in there, it has these signals called EVs, extracellular vesicles. Well, these signals are what we're trying to get to turn on their existing tissue to say, wake up and regenerate. So I've taken this product, I encased it with a protective mechanism called lipid nanoparticles, and then I have a transdermal agent in this cream that can go through the layer of the skin and then get to the deep tissue of the tendons, ligaments, bones, and muscles. So these signals will turn on your existing tissue to wake up and heal faster. So interesting thing is that this is why I was in this world of sports med, because it helped athletes like NFL guys. And that's why it was first developed for NFL guys. And now, since then, I'm moving to the civilian world.
Okay. So I've done a little bit of stem cell. And so the big question we always got is, are you taking this from babies' umbilical cords?
We're taking from the umbilical cords, yes, but we're not taking from the fetal tissue
Right.
or anything else. So it's just the basic it's basically waste material when you have a birth,
Yeah.
So we're taking that tissue and we're obtaining it that gelatinous material around the umbilical cord.
Okay. And just the signals from it really to then turn on the signals within the tissue for healing properties to stimulate tissue development.
That's the biggest thing. And then the neat thing about that is cell-free, meaning there's no nucleus, there's no DNA. So, when you hear people say, I'm injecting my body with millions of cells, millions of live cells, well, they have DNA. DNA, believe it or not, it does that thing called transcribing, right? From RNA, DNA, it's going to turn into something. So if you put something in your body that has that ability to replicate, you might all of a sudden get a tissue that was targeted to like a hair. It goes to your ligament, and all of a sudden, it's not going to know your code as far as a chromosome. So it's going to do exactly what it's meant to do. So that's why it's cell-free and the best method, which is the signals.
Very good. Well, thank you again for coming and being on our show today. We've really appreciated having you. Ladies, we got one more thing to review. And Doc, you're welcome to stick around if you like. We're going to go over week 7. All right. We all took L's this past week 6. Let's look forward to week 7. Laura, it sounds like you want to say something here.
Well, just real quick, Terradome came through again. The soundtrack to go with the fit, Sade cherished the day when he set sail on his yacht. So
Very good.
Brilliance.
excellent,
Brilliance.
excellent choice.
That's all needed.
He's always coming through, always coming through. So, all right. So let's go ahead and finish up. Laura, this is your part. So let's take it away here. I'm going to have you go over the picks for this week.
I got you. All right. So we start out tomorrow, Thursday night, what is being called the Icy Hot Bowl. Steelers versus Bengals. We've got Joe Flacco. We've got Aaron Rodgers, the oldest QBs in the league right now. So yeah, that'll be fun. I picked the Steelers. Desi, you picked the Steelers, and Beth, you picked the Bengals.
Do discuss. Oh, she popped off, didn't she?
I mean, no, I'm here.
Okay.
No, I just muted my thing for a minute.
Oh.
Yeah, I can't. I can't. Aaron Rodgers, I can't.
That's fair. I mean, I give you that. And the unfortunate part is that Aaron Rodgers has been, he's
However,
been
I'm going to
grudgingly good.
I'm going to call it. It is early in the season, and he's an old man.
Right.
So
Right. And yeah, last year he was injured.
Tired.
Yeah. Yeah. He's getting tired. It's time to go to bed, Grandpa. All right. But then we've got on Sunday, we're going to start with the Rams Jaguars. You all picked the Jaguars. I picked the Rams. I honestly think that's a surprisingly competitive game. So we'll see.
You know me, I pick on home teams too. Like Jags are home, Rams have to go across the country. I don't know. I'm going to go for, I think the Jags are on a little hot streak. I do not like their coach, but let's cheer for Travis Hunter.
Sure. Then Saints Bears. For obvious reasons, I chose the Saints over the Bears. You all chose the Bears. I definitely hope the Bears don't win. Not so sure about the Saints, but I still hope the Bears don't win.
That's going to be not a good game. So,
to put it kindly.
Listen, they got Money Moody now. Like he's like, that was just such a crazy game the other day. So yeah.
Nope. Then we're moving on to Dolphins. We're moving on to Dolphins Browns. I picked the Dolphins. Y'all picked the Browns. Again, I really don't know why I picked the Dolphins. I have no idea. But the Browns have been struggling a little too. So yeah.
Well, honestly, real quick, because I almost forgot to put this on there. Please let this be it. Nope, that's not it. I have to show this because this was hysterical. Wait, we found it. Did I not put it up here? Here. Nope, not that.
Nope.
Here it is. Boom.
Here it is.
Football coaches wearing capris are now a combined 1-11. And this is a picture of Mike McDaniel and Aaron Glenn from the Jets. So you said Dolphins. And so I said, oh, yeah, I have this funny meme. So there you go.
That is a great meme. So then we move on to the Pats and Titans. I hesitate to say it because I like to give my neighbor a hard time, but the Pats have been kind of on a streak. So I'm going to give this one to them. The Titans, I mean, also news this week, the Titans fired their head coach.
Yep.
which
Brian
means they're going to
Callahan.
win.
Right.
All I need is not to have New England be further ahead than us.
Well, I just want to know because Cam Ward had come out and said he was going to keep it a buck and they were ass. So I want to see what he says with the coach gone. Carry on.
Right. So moving on, the Raiders Chiefs, in spite the Chiefs kicking our butts on Sunday night, I picked the Chiefs. You picked the Chiefs, Desi, and Raiders for Beth.
I hate
There's really
myself
no-
for this pick.
There's really no explanation to that needed, really.
All right, Eagles, Vikings. We all picked the Vikings. I
We
know.
all hate the Eagles equally, apparently.
Correct. I don't want the Vikings to win either, obviously, because they're in the NFC North. But, you know, the Eagles are the bigger threat this year, and they've not been doing as well as they'd like. So, yeah, I think this is a good chance for the Vikings. All right, we've got the Panthers versus Jets. And all of us picked the Panthers. I mean, the Jets are working on an 0-17 season. The Panthers have been on a tear. So I think, to be fair, I honestly think they'll beat them handily. But it'll be an interesting game to watch, or not.
Nobody's watching that game, but carry on.
I usually do watch Panthers because of my neighbor, but
The Jets
then-
might not even be watching that game.
Colts Chargers. Chargers will be wearing their charger, like literally phone charger, electric
Power Ranger.
uniforms there. But Beth, you picked the Colts. We picked the Chargers. I don't know. Maybe their banana ball jerseys will do them some good.
I mean, the Colts are just, it is hard to argue with the Colts right now.
It is. I agree. Commanders, Cowboys, Desi, you picked Dallas.
Why did I do that? Are you sure? Are
I
you sure
love
you did
it.
this?
I have it right here. You circled Cowboys.
I don't know why I did that. But, you know, every now and then a squirrel gets a nut, right? Is that what that is?
Every now and then. Packers, Cardinals, you picked the Packers. We picked the Cardinals. Obviously, again, I am very biased against all NFC North teams, so I do not prefer to pick them, even though occasionally I have to. But I do not want the Packers to win that game, especially since they're one in our division right now. So they need to lose and we need to win. All right, and then the Falcons 49ers, that is the Sunday night game, right? So, yeah. Beth, you picked the Falcons.
She did that because I sent her the picture of Rick James.
It would just make me feel better if the Falcons could beat other teams that are good too.
Oh, you think we're good? No, I'm just kidding. No, we're leveling up. We got We're gonna get Kittle back. We're gonna level up. We're gonna have better blocking. I don't know how we're gonna stop Bijan, but yeah.
You will. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah. All right, then we go to Monday night, another doubleheader on Monday night. We've got the Buccaneers at the Lions, and of course, because there is no other answer, we all pick the Lions.
Of course, I'm still bitter.
And I think the Lions are good at coming back from a loss. Like, they're good at taking that and turning it around. So I think they could easily just destroy the Buccaneers. This might be one of their high-scoring games where
But they might be getting Mike back. They might be getting Mike back, and I think Bucky Irving too. I mean, I think that's what I heard. I can't confirm that, but
they're in the D. They're in the D, and you all, like, I was at both the stadiums in your cities, not your teams, but your stadiums. And when they said get loud and people got loud, I was like, Detroit's louder than this. So.
Well, at home, we weren't at home. Both of our teams.
Yeah, but even just in general, not even for your teams, but like the Falcons fans in general. I was compare that to Ford Field, nowhere near the same.
You also just compared a transient city of a bunch of transplants to everyone's second team is the Falcons. Nobody in Atlanta was raised a Falcons fan.
That's fair.
Adopted them because we moved to Atlanta.
That is fair. But let's hope for the Lions win. And though the 10 p.m. game on Monday night, which I really sincerely wonder I think their highest viewers will be on the West Coast, right?
Of course.
With the Texans Seahawks. And we all picked the Seahawks for that one.
And we'll find out who wins the next morning.
Right, exactly.
And we'll find out who kicks off.
Yeah, exactly.
The game the next morning.
I'll be in bed for the whole game.
Oh my goodness. Well, I feel better already seeing you guys this Wednesday. It was a rough weekend, but nothing but smiles now. We're over the hump. We got week 7 ahead. Ladies, any final thoughts before we close this one out? Negative?
No,
all right.
I mean, let's go on more trips. That's what I have to say. Let's do it.
I think we got to recover financially from this one.
Yeah, I guess that's a little minor detail, huh?
Yes, just a minor one. But that's it for us this week, guys. Always appreciate those who show up. Thank you, Tanya. Appreciate you. We are going to be back again next Wednesday to cover the review of week 7 and look ahead to week 8. Guys, enjoy the weekend. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, all the things. Join us on social media. Check us out on Instagram so you can figure out who you want to vote for on Rate the Fit next week. Thank you to Dr. Tommy Rhee. Be sure to check him out. And that is it for this week, guys. Take care and happy football.
Go Bills.